This is the Troutbitten podcast.
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten?
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten?
Yeah, Troutbitten.
Troutbitten.
It's about trout.
Wild trout. This is Troutbitten.
This is the Troutbitten podcast. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Dominic Swantowski. I'm the owner of Troutbitten and the author of Troutbitten.com. All right, we're back. This is season 17 of the Troutbitten podcast, and we're here with the full crew format. Just loose conversations, discussions, maybe some friendly arguments that cover a variety of topics. We're going to take on spot burning again next week. That'll be good. And I have a couple more in-deep interviews within this season of 10, publishing each week and wrapping up just before Christmas. Going to be a great fall. So we start this week with the post-cicada wrap-up. Earlier this summer, we had our periodical cicada emergence. Of course, that only happens every 17 years around here. And we just want to share some stories and some thoughts about how things went, what worked, what didn't, some great memories, disappointments, and stuff like that. So we're here in Pennsylvania, but I know that a lot of what we'll talk about here tonight applies to rivers all over the country. Wherever you find trout feeding on big bugs on top, I'm sure a lot of what we'll talk about here tonight applies. Big trout and big dry flies. Who doesn't love that? Right, Austin?
Right.
Right.
Boy, that was worth the wait.
Yeah, right. So this is the post-cicada wrap-up. That's our topic, and thanks for joining us. I want to also thank the sponsors here for season 17. Brought in some new companies, and thanks to these Troutbitten guys for joining me. Let's do this, guys. Let me introduce each one of you, the Troutbitten crew, by asking you a question. So it's been 4 years of the Troutbitten podcast. I was thinking about this. Let me hear your opinions. What's the most notable thing that has changed? I guess I mean for you, maybe in your fishing life, or maybe just in the fly fishing scene. Things maybe you didn't expect. What really stands out to you or maybe surprises you? Like looking back at the way things were 4 years ago and the way they are now. 4 years is a long time, you know?
Yeah, that's
high
crazy.
school. Remember when you're in high school, you're like, wow, that was, well, it's both quick and it's a long time. College is kind of the same way. 4 years, man. You know what I mean?
4 years.
Who's got it?
Yeah, it's a long time.
Trevor? Dr. Trevor Smith, would you
Sure.
like to? He got something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just seeing the evolution of my family, through older kids now, 10, 9, and 6 at the moment. And I'm doing a lot more fishing with the kids, which means I'm doing a lot more gear fishing too. And also just seeing them take some true, I don't know. It's been fun to see them have some persistent enjoyment of being outdoors. So we shoot bows a lot together and we fish a lot together. So the way my schedule works, every Friday through Sunday, I'm home. And on Fridays, I run the homeschooling at home. And so usually we'll get done our school by noon or so, and then we can go out fishing or go out in the backyard and shoot bows. But we've been doing a ton of fishing this summer. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. And I don't know. It's just been a ton of fun and fun. I didn't want to force them into it, but they all love it, and they all want to go, and they're all trying to figure out when we're going to go out next. So it feels like a great problem to be having, is I don't have enough time to get out as much as they want to. But it's a lot of fun, and I'm excited to eventually start turning some of that into fly fishing, because a couple of them in particular, I think, are going to really take to that.
You can't hardly predict it, but you can give them that
right.
base. You and I have talked about that a good bit. It's funny because my dad just sent me, just this evening, sent me a picture of Aiden. Gosh, he might not be more than 5 years old in this picture, and he and I are kind of holding hands, and we're looking at one of our favorite rivers from behind. And then he sent me another picture 5 minutes later. Aiden's taking a leak. He's got his waders down. He's got a bare butt. he's like peeing into a little stream. Who knows what was going through his brain, right? Yeah. I showed Aiden that picture, and he hurried up and turned my phone off. Because Aiden's 15 now.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
that's great, man. Give him that base.
Yeah, so that's changed. It changes my fishing. I get less time to myself, but it's worth it. And
it is so
I'm
worth
excited for the evolution of it.
Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I went through that,
Yeah, I remember talking to you about that. And honestly, it helps to have talked to some people that have been through it. And I think hearing just your perspective of, you offer the opportunities and you sort of let them respond, and rather than trying to force it on them. I think that's been really good advice.
Right on. You'll always have a relationship. They're always going to have that depth too. Depth, I mean, of like appreciation for the outdoors. Even if they don't make a life, centered around the outdoors, like we all here kind of do, fishing, you guys hunting. They're going to have that base. It's there. There's that appreciation. They can always go back to it. You got something, Josh? You're nodding.
Yeah, I feel the shift in family responsibility. I think back when we started this, I felt busy, and that's just makes me laugh now.
Right, you thought you were busy back then, 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was 3 kids ago.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, part of that, I think early on, I was really connected to like everything going on in the industry, and I felt like early on I had to see it all and know what was going on, what every new post and every new opinion, and I felt like being plugged into more of like the heartbeat of the fishing world and on social. I think that's where I was at, and over time I think that's changed. Not necessarily because I like tried to step away, but because everything just filled up, work and family and actual fishing, and I think somewhere in the middle of that, like I wasn't checking it as much, and I didn't miss it, and I think that in a way I've become less annoyed over the years. I think that when I fish, it's a little bit more grounded now, and that's sweet.
That's great. That's good. That's a great way to describe it. I think we're all nodding. We all kind of feel the same way about that.
Yeah.
And it's not just us. It's not just our age group either. I think people really are stepping away from social media. Many people are, right? With a certain kind of connection that was just, you had to be there. Well, so many people are kind of past that.
Yeah.
And it's good for what it is. I'm there because of work, because of Troutbitten, right?
Yeah.
And I enjoy sharing the stuff that I do, obviously. And, it's part of my business. And I feel like we get to lead that industry a bit in certain directions and put some new ideas out there. We kind of get to steer it a bit with the position we're in. And that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, I'm happy about that.
Cool. Yeah.
I connect with, I think, a little bit of everything you guys are saying.
Let me interrupt you. There's Austin Dando just calling you out, buddy. That's who he is.
Thanks.
Yep.
The other day, my phone started auto playing an old episode, and it was one of our episodes from this first season. And I was just listening through it, and the tone of it was different back then a little bit too. It was
Tell us.
It was new. It was exciting. Like we were a little bit nervous. It felt like, and a little giddy. I think like we weren't in a rhythm or as like much of a routine as we are now, and kind of know how things work. And we were just feeling it out. But I feel like I noticed for myself, like just feel like maybe I had a lot harder opinions, or I was harsher on things that maybe than I wouldn't be today. Kind of going back to what you were all saying, just having somewhat of an evolution in life. Like now I have a 4-month-old, right? She's only been around for 4 months, but mentally it's made a big difference in my thinking and my perception of life and what's important and everything like that. And the social media aspect too. Like it's not been on my phone for probably almost a year, and I'm better off mentally for it. And just try to enjoy fishing for the reasons I enjoyed fishing from the first time I experienced it.
I know.
So I try to, I don't know if it's like a purity of mind thing or not, but I try to get that experience back and try to put that into the podcast, and not something that has so much influence from those around me necessarily, from things I didn't go looking for.
Boy, are we just mature.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
we're also
that
grounded.
didn't sound too heavy or not either, but that's how I feel.
We
lately.
used to be black and white, but now we're just pretentious.
There's elite.
We've always been pretentious.
Elitist.
Yeah, there you go.
Everybody's gonna hate us more.
Yeah. I definitely, I know what you're saying, Austin. I think that's really cool too.
Yeah.
I think that's one cool thing about the variety of ages we have, even amongst us, as being close friends and fishing friends. But it's fun to have, we represent like 3 different decades almost. And along with that comes this ability to talk about some of the phases of life that we're all going through. And I don't know, it's been kind of fun to see those things evolve even over these 4 or 5 years. I mean, we've been fishing friends longer than 4 years, but it's fun to reflect on it. And the podcast has been such a cool place to sort of like being able to listen back at an episode 4 years ago. And, like not everybody has captured in media the ability to go back and listen to themselves 4 years ago and their conversations. So I think that's a special thing, actually.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking too about how busy, we've all gotten a little busier. You guys have more kids than you used to. Well, Trevor, not quite, but you're busier with your kids, right?
Yeah.
They're more active. And I've always felt like, this podcast ties us together. Like we haven't all been fishing together for quite a while, right?
Yeah.
And Austin, I've seen you a good bit. Deli, I haven't seen you in person for a while. Josh, you and I work together, so And then Trevor, a couple
We're due for a porch beer.
Porch beers, right? It's one thing I'm really thankful for is this right here. I've had groups of friends that come and go, but like this is cool because this ties us together, and we're able to kind of keep up with really what's going on, and it's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. As close as we kind of live, relatively speaking, to each other, it's still really hard with all the responsibilities to get together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the more people you have, the harder it is to just get everybody in the same place.
Yeah, you need to be about 30 minutes west from where you are, Austin.
I wouldn't mind it.
Then we could have some back porch beers.
Yeah.
There you go. That'd be fun.
Easier. Yep.
What about you, Deli? You got to be about an hour east.
Yeah, having camp up there. Trevor's like the nice middle ground, I think. Like I'm about 20-25 minutes from his house, so it's not too bad.
No.
Oh, when you're
at camp, yeah.
right.
When I'm at camp, but when I'm at home, it's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Among us, Trevor's the middle ground. Yeah.
He also has a ping pong table.
That's right. Got a ping pong table.
That helps. Interesting neighbors too.
That's right. Yeah. Right.
A
What's
new
the
open
changing
house.
neighborhood?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Anyway, so So Troutbitten listeners already know the crew's favorite beer is Broken Heel's Hazy IPA from New Trail Brewing Company. But our friends at New Trail are hard at work developing our next favorites. Each one is like a different fly pattern because some fit your current situation better than others. Like this one they call 24/7 because it's the beer we could drink 365, crafted to go anywhere, anytime. 24/7's light body and low alcohol make it a must-have when you've got day-long plans but still want full IPA flavor. Then there's Trail Marker West Coast IPA, inspired by classic pine and orange flavor. Trail Marker is brilliantly clear, nicely bitter, and available in 2 varieties, West Coast IPA and Imperial IPA. You can bet the Troutbitten crew will mix these styles into the cooler with Broken Heels. So check out newtrailbrewingcompany.com to find retailers near you or on the way to the river. So I want to tell you about one of the best ideas and coolest products I've seen enter our industry. Cling Fishing Products makes MagGrab magnetic fly patches to level up your organizational game on the water. MagGrabs are made in Montana and feature strong rare earth magnets that offer incredible holding power. You can attach them anywhere you need, from your hat to your pack, your cooler, your boat, the dash of your car, or the bed of your truck. Wherever you attach the MagGrab, you know your flies and tools are secure. New for this year is the MagGrab Rod Rack. The rod rack is a 2-part system designed to hold your fly rod securely during fly changes, fish releases, snack time, and any other situation where you might need to set your rod down for a minute. The base plate securely attaches to the butt of your rod with a strong rubber clasp, while the top magnet is easily attached to your waders, pack, or vest. Get them close and they click together. Your rod is secure. So check out Cling Fishing's full line of MagGrab products at clingfishing.com or ask for them at your local dealer and find the Cling MagGrab that works for you. Deli, what's new, man? I mean, what changed that surprised you 4 years ago?
I guess I've kind of de-evolved maybe. I've gone back. Like I've
no,
gone
he's
back
really
to,
knuckle dragging.
I am. I'm knuckle dragging. I've gone back to spinning gear for fishing for
That's
bass,
good.
like
I
what I
like it.
used to do.
Yeah,
It's just
cool.
I guess the older I get, the more I realize that fall fishing really sucks most days for trout, but for bass fishing, it's a lot better. and some other species. And so I guess I guess for a long time, I felt like I had to trout fish all the time because I felt like I was missing out on something because I needed to learn all the seasons and everything, where now I feel like I have a grasp of, you know, what conditions to look for in the fall, where, you know, trout fishing, you might get an hour or two sometimes in the fall. On most days, you know, if we have water, which seems like is rare,
Makes a big difference.
I've gotten to the point now where I'm comfortable with, okay, there's not water in the trout streams. I'll just go to a bigger river and I'll fish for bass or whatever.
You sent us a
lake.
picture of like all the soft plastics that you bought.
Yeah.
The jerk shads and the Ned
Yeah,
rigs.
and I have, oh man, I got like probably 5 or 6 Plano boxes of like plugs and
course
Rapalas
he
and
does.
stuff from when I was a kid. And I'm like, at least, you know, the hooks are still good. I kept them in, I didn't leave them get rusty. And so I'm like, I was going through them last week and I'm like, I can use this. I can use this.
That'd be
And
fun to
so-
fish stuff that you had when you were a kid. I don't have anything like that.
I have
You guys have stuff?
Stuff from being a kid.
Yeah. Any lures
yeah.
or anything?
Oh yeah, I have a
Rods? Do you?
Rapala. I've got a box of Rapalas that Rapala. You hear me saying that right?
Yeah. See,
I've
you learned
changed.
that.
I
learned
evolved.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, he also evolved.
I also evolved. I didn't de-evolve. Yeah. But man, I still, and I have a MEPS that
one
I've
way to
just
say
kept
that.
out for nostalgia purposes. I don't know. There were like 3 lures. I fished a white rooster tail, a MEPS anglia, and like a black and gold Rapala, like a small one, non-jointed, under the bridge, like where I grew up. And those 3, I still have one of each of those from being a kid, and I'll
cool.
never use those
really nice.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
because that was
lose 'em.
just like, no, right? That was just like I don't know. I'd save up all my allowance money, all my chore money. I'd sell vegetables in
Birthday
the
money.
neighborhood, all to buy backups of those 3 lures.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I have two mouse lures that my uncle had when he was a kid.
No way.
That I found in the basement here at my, like, now that a couple years ago I bought my grandparents' house when they passed away.
Yeah.
And so when I was a kid, we would take out like the tackle boxes and we would like look through them that my uncle had when he was a kid. And so most of the like plastics and stuff were melted and stuck to the tackle box. But like there were these 2 like they're, I don't know, probably like 3.5 inches. They're mouse lures. Like one has like wings on the side of it and the other one has like a little bit of a bill on the front to make it a diver. And they're cool looking. And I have them in like a Tupperware container. I'll probably never fish them, but they're pretty cool. They're not in the best shape, but
I don't think I have anything from when I was a kid.
I've got
Josh?
Yeah, I've got one crackleback and one orange egg that I tied my first year of fly fishing when I was 12.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I've got those in a little glass box that I didn't realize that it wasn't super intentional that I kept those. But Bill's getting all of his stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
He's got a
Yeah.
lot of stuff.
Yeah, Deli brought
brand
out, like you said, 2 big Plano boxes. Are those all from when you were a kid?
yeah, I had a gear problem as a child too.
Wow.
Nice.
It's funny. So my dad gave me or lent me his film camera when Brooke was born.
Old filming.
Yeah. And there's still a roll of film in it. And I had my friend develop it. And it ended up being photos of him and I from a camping trip we did when I was in middle school that we never developed.
Wow,
And I was looking through it because we
Love
always
that.
went, fishing and hiking and all that stuff. And there's all these old fishing photos on the roll. And like all the gear that's still in the pictures, like they're all still either at my parents' house or in my garage.
Wow.
So, like, I still have that old vest. I don't wear it now. The hip boots are still hanging on the wall at my parents' house. The old fishing rod's still there. It's cool to go back and look at once in a while.
Yeah, that's special.
I said I don't have
yeah.
I don't have gear from when I was younger. But gosh, my dad and I've been camping for 25 years just about. And he's always been pretty good at like, hey, let's take this picture. We always take this picture where we're standing out in front of his camper with our waders, either hanging or they're on, right? Whoever's there, we do this thing. And it's like, this is dumb, Dad, but now I'm glad we did it. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice.
You guys want to jump into this?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we all fished the cicadas. And kind of, we talked about from the, even back in May and June, like, we got to do a post-cicada wrap-up. Troutbitten crew here decided we weren't going to talk about the cicadas while it was going on. Saltwater guys do that a lot, like, hey, they're not going to talk about the striper blitz, where it is, while it's going on. And then afterward, they might do, I don't know, a video, podcast, articles, this and that, share information about it. We kind of decided to follow that model. So we didn't talk about it until, well, I did what I called the post-cicada blues. I'm still kind of in that. It was a fishing film, I don't know, a couple months ago, end of July. But we all kind of talked about how we wanted to do this wrap-up, maybe. Like, what did we learn? What did we experience? Nothing formal here. But big dry flies, big trout, and it ended up to be big water. Right, so let's start with that, honestly. Anyone else want to break that down? Like, what kind of conditions were we looking at once the cicadas really turned on here?
I felt like it was even, let's say, June time frame.
Right.
And so most times in June, that's usually the week that I've been taken off because usually flows are pretty consistent where there's not a big fluctuation. And that was not the case this year.
No, not so much.
The way I explained it was great for the trout, but it was bad for fishermen. Or I wouldn't say bad for fishermen, but it wasn't as,
different.
It was different. And so I don't know. I would say they were let's say the rivers were 50% higher than they normally are in June at least.
Oh, hell. I think some of them were 8, 7, 8, 10, right? You went from like 100 CFS to like 1,000 CFS.
Yeah.
7, 8 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it stayed that way. We kept getting rain.
Yeah.
Yeah. That changed it.
It did. Yeah, I feel like it completely changed the fishing experience because it was barely wadeable. And so you had to pick your spots, whether it was spots of bigger rivers and just like bank water, and even wading to fish bank water was a challenge,
Sometimes,
Yeah, at times. Or it just meant for me finding some smaller water at times to fish. The streams that came down the fastest were the ones that ended up offering more opportunity or easier opportunity for sure.
Yeah.
But I also saw, because of the water levels, and I don't know if it's just because of the water levels, but I felt like I saw a lot more boat action on some of the bigger streams, maybe because people couldn't wade.
Fair.
And
we don't have much boat traffic around here, you're saying, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I took my raft. Like I had timed it, and I think I had I took 2 chunks of time off. And the first chunk, the first day it was wadeable, and then we got like an inch of rain overnight, and it was high wadeable, on top of it being high. And I was like, well, I'm glad I brought the boat. And so the next day, like, I floated, and we didn't even fish cicadas. We threw big streamers.
See, that's weird to me.
And
I didn't think that was
probably
your first day, Bill.
Well, no, I'm saying the first day was good. And then, like, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 days later, we got a big rain. I'd have to look back. But after we got the big rain, then the rivers were, the river I was on, I think, was like 800 or 900 CFS.
Oh, right. I know.
And so I was just like, well, we'll throw, and they were on streamers because they were on that bigger food form, and they were already on the banks.
Yep.
Moved some really big fish. I don't know if I would have done better or worse. I mean, between me and my buddy, we probably boated 50 fish on streamers, and that's a heck of a streamer day.
Nothing wrong with that. Hell yeah.
But like, a part of me thinks like, well, would I have done better or worse if I would have committed to the cicada that day?
I don't know that you'd have done more or less numbers. I think those are great numbers. The way I approached things was decided by me like 17 years ago. Because 17 years ago, I promised myself, man, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to fish every day. I'm only going to fish one pattern. I'm going to just make the most out of this. And as it was approaching, we had Sawyer on the podcast last spring, and Sawyer and I had fished it so much, and we seriously kind of promised each other too, like, we're going to do this again. Sawyer came up during the cicadas. We fished together. That was cool. I fished with my dad. I fished with Austin. Deli, I saw you a couple times, right? Both my boys came out a couple times, but I did a lot of fishing for myself. I was on the water almost every single day, and I seriously never fished another pattern from the time that the first fish ate a cicada until like almost 4 weeks after. I just wouldn't fish anything else. I guess I started fishing ants on top maybe 2 or 3 weeks after. But that's all because I promised myself that I was going to do that. And seriously, because of the water conditions, I may not have done that if it wasn't like this weird commitment to like what I promised myself 17 years ago. And I'm kind of glad for that, because what I found is that I was fishing water that was, again, 6, 7, 8 times higher than it would normally be. I was fishing water on some of our bigger rivers too. I never would have thought I could wade and fish them effectively at those levels. I used to, look at that CFS number and go, no, you can't fish that river. But the thing is, we had so much water before that, and then the color had settled. And we always talk about none of us like to fish muddy, but it would be dirty, and sometimes it wasn't even all that dirty. It was just really freaking high.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, and like you said, Trevor, you got to find your ways around. And I learned to really be thankful for, I guess, the knowledge that I have about all of our rivers. And I was like, well, I know I can't cross it there, but I can cross it down here because it's super wide. Let me take a walk down around a bend, get on the other side, hit that inside bend, because that's where a lot of times fish were feeding the most. And the fish were on. It was almost every single day. I was catching fish, big fish. It was like only the big fish were allowed to eat. We should talk about that. But like, almost every day, every day I'd get into really good. Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
What are you calling a big fish?
Well, that's a good point. We should always define the terms. So I never caught a namer, but I caught multiple 20s, maybe, I think it was 3 or 4 20s. And every day, it was 17, 18, 19-inch brown trout, wild brown trout. Around here, that's big. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And like the smallest fish I'd catch was 12 inches. Did you guys catch small fish, very often on cicadas?
No.
Right? That's kind of a mystery to me. Do you think, can we talk about that? Why do you think that is?
I think the bigger fish are pushing them out of the lies.
Yeah.
Like, because there was to me, with that higher level, the higher volume of water, I felt like there was lesser feeding lines. And good so call. I would think the dominant fish would push the smaller fish out. But that's my guess.
They did it 17 years ago too, which was like that average flows. Let's just say average. So I'm with you. I feel like the bigger fish were like, these are ours. There are honestly not that many cicadas, making the mistakes and getting on the water. There's still hundreds and maybe thousands, but it's not like bang, bang, bang. It's not like a hatch,
Right. I also think
they're hunting for them.
Yeah. I think you see, like, I think they said at 12 to 14 inches, you see typical trout behavior switch to like more pescivorous diets, so they'll begin to eat bigger prey. Sure. And so there may truly just be a portion of it that's like anatomical ability, like their physiologic ability to eat a larger prey item, or to even target that as like a routine kind of source of energy.
Sure.
Yeah, it might be like an instinct and energy kind of thing. Like cicada's big, it's clumsy, it's high calorie, and like these smaller fish are almost wired to eat often. They're wired to feed often, and not necessarily boldly. Although we see that sometimes, their whole life is like about darting for midges and nymphs and eating what shows up right in front of them, and not necessarily going to the surface for something that they've never seen before.
I think that's really species dependent too. Sorry, Austin.
No, that's a good point.
No, but because like bass, right? Like I think you see little bass go for really big prey items routinely.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
That they have no business going for, but you don't see that as much with trout.
Yeah, occasionally, but I agree with you. Not as much. Good anglers know that a reliable fly line can mean everything, but replacing fly lines every season, that adds up. It's costly, it's wasteful, and now it's unnecessary. Because Restore Line has created the ultimate repair solutions. Restore Line offers products to repair damaged fly lines, to splice fully broken fly lines, and to add a new loop to the end of any fly line. Restore Line's easy-to-use products extend your fly line's life without compromising performance, while also cutting down your environmental impact. So don't toss out your fly line just because it's worn. Restore it, renew it, and keep fishing with confidence. Restore Line, innovation for anglers who care. Learn all about it at restoreline.com. Since 2010, Smith Creek has designed innovative guide tough gear for serious anglers. Introducing the new Fly View Chest Pack System, Smith Creek's most advanced accessory yet. Built from marine-grade aluminum and lightweight PE foam, the Fly View is rugged, modular, and made to keep up with you on the water. Fly View's lid features a built-in 3x Fresnel magnifier, giving you a clearer view when you're tying on fine tippet, especially if your eyesight isn't quite what it used to be. With 5 swappable tray styles and an external lid patch with a magnetic fly holder, the Fly View chest pack can comfortably hold well over 100 flies, all in easy reach. Spend less time tying and more time casting with Fly View. Visit them online at smithcreek.co for more information.
Yeah, I think too, maybe it is trout specific, but just the general confidence that a large brown trout has versus the confidence that a small 12-inch or smaller fish would, where they could see a large item that they could go up there and miss it pretty easily, or they might not even have the ability to eat it. They might miss it. Kind of like Josh was saying, they're a bit programmed to eat small items. Now it's funny because we do catch some, at least I catch some smaller fish on big streamers occasionally. So I wonder what the difference is. why a fish should be more willing to go after a large streamer versus something. Maybe it's a surface orientation that changes the mindset there, but
that's a good point.
I don't have the answer.
I mean, you think about night fishing. I don't think.
Okay.
I mean, I catch very few under 12-inch fish at night.
That's
I'm fishing
good
larger surface patterns. Right.
Good thing to point out.
Yeah. Very good point.
Yeah, it's kind of the same way. Like, yeah, I feel like the rules are different. I really do. I feel like there were rules down underneath during the cicada hatch where like the big boys were going, no. These are for us. You little guys stay away. You can eat the nymphs down there and the little things. You're right. At night, oh my, we hardly ever catch like 10-inch trout at night, right? And again, we're using bigger patterns, but they're not. I don't know. They're not big. They're not the size that like
you couldn't catch a smaller fish on, or that you wouldn't
during the
with
day
a streamer.
On a streamer.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's kind of a big mystery to me, though. Like why the little ones just wouldn't eat. Dovetailing on that idea, that concept, do you guys think that we did see the biggest fish in the system on a regular basis? Well, do you think that the biggest fish in the system were eaten during the cicadas? Or were they still wait until night or just down there, sulking underneath the old log and waiting for it to eat, one big crayfish every other day?
Personal experience, no. I didn't catch the rivers that I fished. I didn't catch, I think I caught 1 or 2 18-inch fish out of all the fish I caught on cicadas.
Yeah.
But I caught a lot of 16 to 17-inch fish. For me, I would have been curious to have that flow, that volume of water next June to see if I could catch I felt like I could have caught bigger fish without the cicadas.
On a streamer?
Yeah. At those levels.
Without the cicadas
or nymphs. Yeah. But I mean, I might be wrong. I felt like a lot of the mid-sized fish were feeding. Like, I guess it's been rare to have that much water at that time of year. For sure. And so, like, in my mind, I felt like, oh man, there should have been bigger fish. I don't know. I felt like I should have caught, like, the one river in particular, I felt like I should have been able to get a 20-inch fish. I moved some on streamers.
So I saw it, of course, 17 years ago. Am I the only one here who fished it 17 years ago?
I did, but I wouldn't consider myself a very ample fisherman.
You're right, and Josh was just born. For me, Bill, it was the same thing. You had the same size fish that were eaten, and I caught a couple. I caught this. You guys know I caught the same 22-inch fish back-to-back Saturdays. I caught a couple other 20s, 21s. And I mean it every day. 17, 18, 19-inch fish. And but the difference is, Bill, like you put, I don't know, you didn't have, well, because you got a real job, right? And I don't have a real job.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I missed
on
the money. There was a certain week that was just lights out, and that was the week that I was swamped with work and could not take off.
Well, yeah,
that plays a big role in it.
I kept just trying to. I was watching the CFS a lot, and watching the weather, and if I had the hot hand or what I felt was the hot hand, I went right back there the next day and picked up where I left off. I was fishing the biggest water I've ever fished, or the biggest flows on the biggest rivers that we have around here. And like I said, I didn't think I'd be able to fish them, but once I did, once or twice, I was like, oh, I'm going to keep going back there. Because you know what? I'd go past the smaller river on my way there, and people were guiding it, and everybody's, there were a lot of people. I'd pass 20 people in, 20 anglers in like a 4-mile stretch or something like that I travel to get anywhere else. And everybody was fishing that smaller water because it was more manageable. You could wade it. But there's smaller fish on that smaller water, so I wasn't interested. Mm-hmm. I never touched it after day 2. Never touched it. Never touched it again. Just kept fishing the big waters. And I fished I fished my favorite for 4 days in a row. I wore myself out. And it's like my best memory of the whole event. And in 4 days, I saw 3 people. And
crazy.
They were both
amazing.
2 of them were at the bridge. Mm-hmm. The other guy was just kind of randomly up, in water that I was.
The one day I floated,
yeah,
I saw 2 anglers in
6
miles of river.
I hear you. People were told you can't fish that.
And I was like, okay. I'm like, because I was afraid that I was going to be that jerk on the river.
Right.
You
mean floating
because floating it.
And but at that close, you weren't going to be disrupting anybody. I don't think.
So here's a good question. I felt like if you want to catch the biggest fish in the river, I felt like I should have focused on one river system with the limited amount of time that I had.
Fair.
I was trying, and I hopped around and tried to go to a different stream every day.
I know.
And there was a couple streams that I went to that just didn't have them. And then I was like, well, crap, this is a terrible mistake today.
Yes.
I should have went to, River X or River Y. But thinking back on it, if I really wanted to hunt, like you're saying, the top fish in the system, I felt like I should have said, okay, I'm going to stick with one river and I'm going to go up it. I'm going to go up and down it. I'm going to learn where they're at. And then I'm going to focus on spots where I feel like should have bigger fish.
That's kind of what I did. I was on one of our favorites, and I found that if I walked into the bottom of this one section that we all like, I wasn't catching fish down there. The cicadas were there. You could hear them in the trees if it wasn't raining. We should talk about that too, how you kind of know if they're there or they're not. But they weren't active enough, perhaps, down there, and the trout weren't seeing. The trout were not hunting that pattern down there. I'd catch 1 or 2, right, in a half hour. I should be doing better than that because sometimes it'd be bang, bang, bang. I'd go up 300 yards. 200 or 300 yards, and I kept going back this one section because they were there, and I would catch. 20 trout in an hour and a half, 2 hours of fishing. And I'm talking bigger fish, some of the biggest fish around. Yeah. It's funny because I go back there now, where the hell they go? That's a different conversation.
So what do you think made the cicadas be there? To me, I started noticing trees, and in certain trees they liked, and certain trees they didn't.
Yeah.
And so I started driving up and bank structure too. If there was overhanging shrubs and there were more apt to fall into the river. I started paying more attention to some of that stuff.
Definitely.
That's a good point too.
Definitely.
I
you had to find the right water.
I thought about that. I thought that could be one of the reasons that we didn't see them as much lower down on the river that you were talking about, Dom. But then I started looking at the maps and drive, and as I was driving down, because I drove that stretch a ton because I live right by it, and I was like, these are the same species of trees. So I don't even know that that's the reason that they were up there. It's way more of a mystery to me because I thought why am I hearing it way more up here and not down there?
Yeah.
And so I
Where
went
they
down
came
there,
out of the ground.
and you could hear it in the distance. Yeah, certainly.
You
that
could see
be,
the holes in the ground, right?
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
could definitely be it.
everywhere.
But to your point, Bill, like we're talking about the exact same spread of trees, like along the bank.
sycamores,
From the section
maples.
that was hot to the section that wasn't. And so that was confusing to me.
There were many things that were confusing to me. It was way harder this time than last time. Last time it was like, just go up the river, keep going. I've told you guys how we covered it from the mouth to almost the headwaters, a couple of those. And Steve and I did that. And it was like just good action all the way up. You knew they were where they were going to sit. This time I did have to hunt the fish more. But then once I found those spots, like I keep saying, it's like the fish told you, yep, we're hunting cicadas here.
Yep. Yeah.
Did you run into?
But I did go back to places. Yeah.
I would run into packs of fish where, like you're saying,
yeah, good call.
Like you would
good
get
call.
to like it'd be like, okay, bang, bang, bang. There was like
Yeah.
you wouldn't catch a fish for like 15 or 20 minutes, and then it was
Sure.
like six out of 7 cast.
Yeah, I agree.
I think in that sense, it made it easier because you knew right away. Like you talk about the concept of like switching patterns with nymphs, where it's like, well, maybe they're looking for a different pattern. When you were committed to fishing the cicada, if they weren't eating it, you didn't waste time recasting to the same line over and over and over again, right?
Well,
you could move through water quickly, and you got that indication pretty quickly whether it was an area that they were going to target them or not and hunt them.
Well, and I said, like, we didn't. A lot of people were saying, like, oh, it's just not, it isn't what I expected it to be. And it was different than I expected it to be, but it was still really good for me. But again, I was on a water ton, like every day. And like you say, Trevor, it was a water coverage thing. You had to go find them, like you're saying, Deli. And when I'd find those spots, well, then I'd go back to them too. And I'd be trying to find the next spots and find the next even bigger fish and stuff. But if I did go for like a half hour, and I mean it, just a half hour, and I didn't catch a fish, I'm like, damn it, I'm moving.
Yep.
And most people aren't going to move. I mean, I think it's fair to say, I'm not bashing the average angler, but the average angler does not move all that much. And then especially with bigger water, they're going to move less.
Right.
And we were moving more.
I think it helped for us to be in conversation with each other about it a little bit, because I think having been prepped for that a little bit already, I probably went into it being ready to move to where I saw the action. And so that did help a lot. And I don't, if it was my first time fishing cicadas and I had not had a whole lot of input from others, I might not have known that it would be anywhere different, especially when, like you're saying, it wasn't necessarily that there were more or less cicadas in the trees in certain areas that were good or bad. It was just like kind of inexplicable sometimes. Why is this water fishing so much better than 200 yards in the other direction when it seems like as I'm walking along the bank, I'm still getting covered with cicadas, and they're flying everywhere around me. But
Well, that's how it was 17 years ago. I feel like for a month, those things were predictably on the water, well, in the air. Their wings would dry off enough by like 9 o'clock a.m. They would fly around. They were hitting you. They'd be on you. You got used to it, right? But you more than got used to it. You loved it. And it was very predictable then, I think, for the trout. Because when they're flying around, they're a very clumsy bug. They're going to make mistakes. They end up in the water. And so I felt like every day I could get out 8:30, 9 o'clock and start to have really good action. If you fished at 6, if you got up at, before dawn, you were out on the water at dawn, they didn't eat that much. It's like they were waiting for the event. Started at 9, and I mean it.
Are you
It'd go
saying
till
last
5 or
year
6.
or this year?
No,
Last
I
time
mean
or-
17 years ago,
Yeah.
right? And I'm glad you asked. Really, I'm saying that's how it was. I talked to my buddy Dom Duso, older guy than me, who's been through even another cicada cycle than me, and he's like, oh yeah, that's how it was. And this one was different. And it was different because of that because of the weather pattern. I think, I mean, I could see it in my front yard. We got a birch tree here. They seem to love birch trees. And I would keep an eye on it. And when it would rain, those cicadas would be quiet. And we had rain, so much rain. And then the sun would come out, dry things off a little bit. Then you'd hear them. And it can be deafening
Ramping up.
when everything.
Yep.
Yeah. And then after you hear them for a while, then they start to fly around.
yeah.
And it was like just so wet that I think that that's why the cicadas never got in a daily rhythm, let's say. So then the trout never necessarily got in that daily rhythm. Things were different.
I think you're right.
I felt like it was more of it is a terrestrial, but it felt like it was more closer to like an ant and a beetle bite versus like the full on set of what it was that I can remember a couple days that I fished it, 17 years ago.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
So I just mean like the number of fish, the amount of fish eating them. When I fish ants and beetles, I don't always I won't stand in one place. It's usually cast, take a step, cast, take a step, where I felt like that was probably a better approach for this. We'll call it a hatch, to, like you said, kind of move, because it's the same thing with ants and beetles. I feel like it can be a local thing versus like a global thing, where there's there's certain little things to look for.
That's a good way to describe it.
And so fish in this pool may be eating ants, but then the fish in the next pool may not. And same thing with like ants and beetles, versus, and that seemed like it kind of reminded me of like the bite that the cicadas were.
I like it.
At least I would say like most of the time. Like I feel like they're, based on talking to some other friends, like the week that I was not able to fish, it seemed like it was more like flows dropped and a lot of the bugs dropped as well. And it was like the sweet spot where it probably was a little bit more consistent across everything. But at those really high flows, you have smaller windows of where the fish are going to be eaten.
So I've been wearing Tajima polarized lenses for over a year now, and I can tell you they've changed my vision and my comfort level on the water. First, I chose a progressive prescription, and I haven't looked back. Previously, I was carrying readers on the stream, but by putting my prescription in the glasses, I put my Tajima lenses on at the beginning of the day, and I never take them off. Second, my go-to lens choice is Tajima's Yellow-Green 40 Silver Mirror, because with their high light transmission, they're perfect for the cloudy low-light days that we all love so much. On brighter days, I choose Tajima's Brown 15 Green Mirror because they block more light and eliminate eye strain when the sun is strong. Prescription or not, Tajima takes any of your existing frames and puts the finest polarized lens technology into them for a fraction of the cost of a new pair, with purpose-built lens tints and colors designed for fly fishing and matched for your conditions. Tajima's service is also second to none. My Tajima lenses aren't an accessory. They're a key piece of daily gear. Send in your own frames today. Visit tajima-direct.com. That's TAJIMA-direct.com. Upgrade your lenses and see what you've been missing. Tactical Fly Fisher was founded by Fly Fishing Team USA angler Devin Olson in 2015 to make the gear and knowledge he'd gained at the World Fly Fishing Championship available to all anglers. Tactical Fly Fisher's goal is simple. They sell the latest and best fly fishing and fly tying equipment and help you learn how to use it through their videos and books. Visit their store at tacticalflyfisher.com and use the code TB15 to get 15% off your first order. That code excludes rods, reels, tying vices, waders, and boots.
My experience with the cicadas was limited because, Brooke was just born. But I was grateful enough to be able to fish about once a week, maybe about 4. I don't know, I probably fished them six times before they were gone. And I definitely felt a week-to-week change, kind of like probably, the first time I went out was a little slow, and then 2 or 3 times in it got really good, and then it petered off. And meanwhile, Dom was out there every single day of the week sending me pictures, making me feel really good. But I kind of like, what you were saying earlier, Dom, too, like, was the biggest fish in the river feeding? I don't know. I never know if the biggest fish in the river is, right? Or what the biggest fish in the river is. I will say that I saw larger fish on average a lot more often than I'm normally used to seeing, especially eating on the surface. And I also just had a ton of fun fishing those bugs and getting those types of surface eats with that size of fish, and it being somewhat predictable.
Almost predictable.
In scenarios, and just covering water and searching for those pods we're talking about. Just moving through those heavy flows and looking for those soft edges and pockets and underneath tree limbs, and just knowing that one's going to come up there, and then it does. And it's just so much fun.
That's good. That's what it is.
Maybe could have caught bigger fish doing something different, but I didn't want to.
It felt a little bit like it reintroduced some simplicity back into the
Oh, so much.
like into fly fishing.
That's nice. Yeah.
Like for a few weeks, it was all like fly fishing was easy again. You know,
Mm.
Not-
and,
and it,
the
like
decisions were easy, right?
right,
Yeah.
and it's not because you caught necessarily more fish, although
Yeah, I
sometimes
think,
you did.
Yeah.
But
I
because
felt
like
inspired to just get as much of it as I could
Yeah,
because
right.
it was already limited given the life, just the time in my life plus the 17 years to go till the next one.
It's
So
like all-
I can always go back and nymph, but I can't do that.
No.
yeah, it was almost like all the noise in your head, like when you're fishing disappeared, and it was like fly didn't matter and
Right.
technique
Yes.
almost didn't
Yes.
matter, tippet
Yeah.
size didn't matter. It's like it's just about being out there and being like and finding the spot where things were going to go a little bit wild, and then
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there's something pure and simple about it that was unique to me.
I think that's the draw of the hatch. Just to think about it from from the average angler is it eliminates so many choices that you have to make out on the river. And so, everyone's out there slinging. I mean, there are some variances in the patterns. I don't know if they matter. I think we probably all fish something slightly different.
Sure.
And all had success on it. But if you're fishing, something black and orange that floats,
Yeah.
you're probably going to be able to, find something to eat it. But yeah, I think that's the bigger draw of it is that you can just go out and fish, like you said, take a hockey puck of bugs and just go fish.
Well, and this was a bug that had one life cycle that we were seeing, right? It wasn't like even a typical hatch around here, right? Has the decision of at least like what part of the hatch are you fishing?
Yeah.
Are you fishing
Nymph,
emergers?
emerger,
Yeah. Right, yeah. I mean, there's a cicada on the surface, and that's pretty much the life form they're eating.
Yeah. That's simplicity, like you said there. Yeah, that was the big attraction for me. And I think that's why I just wanted to hold myself to it. No matter what happened, I was just going to fish the cicada. And even like for weeks after, did you guys fish? I call it fishing the memory. You've heard me say that. I fished, trying to get them to eat the memory of the cicada. Last time it worked for 2 months, and not 2 months after, but the whole thing was like a 2-month long deal. And then maybe, I'd say at the most though, 10 weeks from the first fish I caught a cicada, they weren't eating, or the bugs weren't around, but they were still eating that memory, and then all of a sudden it was done. This time it was definitely like, 6-7 week thing, and I couldn't stretch it out. And I missed that I still miss it.
I wondered if it would be the opposite. So I was curious to hear your thoughts on that because you talked about fishing the memory of it, and I experienced that to a lesser degree because I was out there 1 to 2 times a week through that, and not every day. But I wondered if the flows and the weather that we had would extend that instead, like almost like the trout were like waiting on it to get good, like waiting on the conditions to get good.
Yeah,
because I felt like I was catching them on cicadas later than I would have guessed, but I didn't experience 17 years ago.
I feel like the imprint wasn't as much on them, right? I feel like they didn't eat as many because it wasn't as easy or predictable, and then so the memory or whatever didn't last as long. Deli, I interrupted you.
No,
I'll confirm for you in 17 years.
I missed that.
I said I'll confirm for you in 17 years when I get to fish again
Absolutely.
and can compare it.
Yeah.
From what I remember, the flows kind of were like improving towards the end of the window of cicadas.
That's true.
And
getting lower.
Right.
More
And so I
manageable.
think that stretched it out for me more than anything was just the ability to reach different water that I hadn't fished yet. It felt, productive, but it wasn't necessarily that stretched out a whole lot longer than a couple of weeks.
Yeah. My water too gets a little bit warm, especially that time of year. And the higher flows definitely extended that cool water season.
It did. Yes.
But at the time when the cicadas were sort of diminishing, that's when that transition I felt like started happening at the same time. And I did try to go out for a couple more weeks and force that. And just came up empty-handed enough times that I just, decided it's over.
You finally got to give up.
Yeah.
But you and I fished it a couple times.
Yeah. We did. And the last time was going to be questionable, and it was good.
Right.
Yeah, and then
but it was
wasn't,
sporadic.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't like
yeah.
when they were on.
No.
You could go for, longer periods of time and not catch them. But then, like Bill said, there's that patch.
Yeah.
They'd still eat them.
There was one fish, Dom, I was telling you about when we fished that one stretch together where I caught and lost that one larger brown trout, and I went back, if you remember, said, I'm going to go back to that tree limb right down there. That spot's mine.
Oh, I know.
And sure enough, that fish was there again. And I know it was the same fish because well, I hooked it again and lost it again. Just amazing colors on it. It was unmistakable. And it's funny to go back there now and look at it. It looks like nothing.
No, Dad and I were there.
What was that fish doing there?
I know. Dad and I fished right past there. I mean, like you say, there's hardly any water there now.
Oh, yeah.
And I was telling him, Austin missed a good fish in there a couple times during the cicadas. Who knows where that fish is now, but we're going to fish that spot anyway.
Right. Well, the last time I
tried
to force it, I was like, I'm going back. This is the last shot. And it was hopeless.
Well, you had the hope.
I had the hope when I started. Yeah.
That's right.
As far as what did you guys tackle and leader? Did you think do you think it mattered? And
I certainly kept pretty stout tippet on.
What'd you terminate at?
2X.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
I went to 3.
Yeah. No, I went to 2, and I found I just had less issues with with the fly spinning or twisting the tippet, and
that's fair.
It didn't seem to make a difference.
I agree. It didn't seem to make a difference.
And my leader got shorter as the cicadas went on. I fished a couple of different leaders, but I'd fish a leader down pretty short. I want to say I started at 9 feet and I fished it down to about 6 feet sometimes, and I'd just keep fishing it.
That's short. That's like a night fishing leader.
Mm-hmm.
I started out with like a 12-foot leader, and I had a bit of problems hooking fish, and I felt like around 9, somewhere between 9 and 9.5 was like the sweet spot. I fished 3X and 1X. Towards the end, I started fishing 1X when the water got a little bit warmer. Really? And 1X, and they just didn't care. And I was like, because I broke off like 2 fish, and I was like, I hate leaving those big flies in fish. And I was like, I'll see if they'll eat 1X. And I got one to eat 1X, and that was it. I was on 1X.
That's about your drift. I mean, right? It's about the drift. I do take some exception to people saying like, oh, it didn't matter what I threw or how. Yeah. Maybe on the hottest day, on the best time when they're so active. But like we're saying, there were plenty of days where it was not bang, bang, bang. Mm-hmm. And I needed good presentations usually. I needed, good dead drifts.
Same.
And, if the fly was dragging, they usually didn't take it. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about that.
Agree.
One of the last days, I think, Austin, you and I might even talked about that. Out of all the days that I fished, I can only think of maybe 15, 20 times where a fish ate a dragging fly. Mm-hmm. Now, in fairness, when my fly's dragging, I usually pick it up and I throw it back out there. I'm not the kind of dry fly angler who's like, it's dragging, I'll let it go and just keep going and finish out this drift, get all of it. I don't do that very much. But I did it enough that I did catch some fish on it, and I think plenty of other fish had a chance. They definitely, for me, preferred that drag-free drift. Guys that tell you to twitch it and shit, I'm like, go ahead. But
I found that size mattered a little bit. Yeah, because I had 2 sizes basically that I was fishing, and it wasn't on purpose. I just had some bigger flies and some smaller flies, and almost always if I got a rejection and went to the smaller pattern, it would get eaten. It didn't go the other direction on that, but
was it smaller than the natural? Let's say.
No, I think it was just like a 1 inch and a 1.5 inch, were the 2 sides, something like that. It was the 2 patterns that I had were like the biggest and smallest version of what I was seeing on the water. Mm-hmm. And the
there
smaller
were different sizes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the smaller version of what I was seeing on the water certainly seemed to fish the best. But a lot of times it didn't seem to matter. But when I would get a rejection, and it didn't feel to me like it was drift related if I switched to the smaller fly. And so I just ended up fishing the smaller fly for the majority of the time.
Yeah.
The fly that I fished was extraordinarily simple.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm talking like maybe silly simple. Like I had black foam and white widow's web, and that's all that was on my.
Oh wow! When I said
that's all that was on my.
Me too.
yeah, and it worked great.
What kind of thread?
Yeah.
I did very much close to the same thing, except I used orange thread to tie the foam on.
Yeah, mine was black. Yeah, I mean there was little to nothing on my
this guy.
It was a big piece of black foam.
He's like, I got 5 kids. I don't have time for orange thread.
I had a couple flies
Deer hair.
I actually had a couple flies that Trevor gave me that I fished at first, and then I only had a couple, and so I went through those real quick, and then I just tied big pieces of black foam onto a hook and fished it.
I do think simple and a little undersized made a difference for me last time and this time. I remember Doug Wennick at Fly Fishers Paradise, the shop. He's the one who showed me the pattern that I used this. I literally fished one pattern this time, so I can't tell you if something would have worked better. But we do have accounts of like friends and friends of friends like missing like, oh, I got like 50 hits. Like, well, and they caught like 10 fish. I'm like, nah, you can do better than that. They're like, well, there were some they have a hard time getting it in their mouth. If you downsize it, you're gonna do better.
Did you find they ate them differently on the rivers? So like
how do you mean?
So if I found that they were fished for a little bit, sometimes like I felt like I had to wait on it. Like when they ate it, like the whole like give it a like let them eat it.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Like the one river I felt like that was definitely the case. And so I fished this river the first day, and I was trying to set like a normal dry fly eat, and I was like, oh, I gotta wait. I got onto that timing, right?
Yeah.
And then I went to the next river, and they were like, if I did that, they were like, it was halfway down their stomach, and so I had to set on like as soon as they ate it, I had to set. Otherwise, it was like it was pretty dangerous. But like they were eating them dangerously, where they were just sucking them in. Because they were like, a lot of them were like, I had a good pot of like 16, 17 inch fish, and they were just, those fish can just suck that bug in.
I did hook, I think, probably 3 pretty deep.
Yeah.
I caught a lot though.
Yeah.
Again, because I fished like every day. So it's not a bad average. So I'm saying I'm not out there just, torturing trout, guys.
I do think the big flows were a blessing.
I
based
know.
on like the amount of like it was good for the fish.
Angler
I felt
pressure.
like
It was good
and
for
it
the fish.
like I think the
It kept
amount
the
of
pressure
angler
down.
I felt like
Big
the
time.
amount of angler pressure we would have had if the rivers were
Right.
average or low flows, you'd have been running into people.
Yes.
It would have made it extremely unenjoyable.
Yeah. I was ready
saw
for
that.
that.
Yeah. Right.
But it didn't
And I
happen.
saw the number of anglers decrease pretty dramatically after the first. Like, I mean,
know.
there were a lot of
hard.
people at first, right? And it was hard, and the people
Everybody
that I
thought
would,
it would be easier.
yeah. And I was talking to a lot of the people that I saw and just asking them how it was going. And there were a lot of frustrated anglers and a lot of anglers that weren't, they weren't going to be great waders just based on their physical abilities. And so I think that's where, I agree 100%. I think it was really good for the fish and even good for our fishing in a sense, because we got more of that water to ourselves.
Again, because we knew the waters and we knew where we could wade. And we were comfortable. We didn't, there's no drop off in this one place. We're fine. Wade across. You couldn't see the bottom a lot of times. I told you about those 4 days, and that was like the peak of the whole thing for me. And I felt like it was more about physical, like it was more of a physical challenge than a fishing challenge.
Yeah.
Get through it, cover 2.5, almost maybe 3 miles of water. I don't want to exaggerate. I covered a ton of water, right? I definitely walked that far. Just keep going, almost from sun up to sundown. And, a bunch of days in a row. And, you're worn out at the end of the day, especially with that big water. That felt great. That was the challenge. It feels good to, to be able
Work
to do
hard.
it. Yeah, to work hard and get that reward sometimes.
I wet waded most of the time that I could, just because I was wading in areas where I would be over my waders. And I was definitely toe tapping down a few stretches, and I had a bunch of people in a boat laughing at me because I was just like, my head was above the water and I had my rod
up to your armpits.
Yeah. They're like, what are you doing?
The river just trying to take you away. Austin, do you remember when we went in with Aiden And I just about got swept away. That's as close as I've ever been.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Austin grabbed my arm finally. He just was watching me. He's like, oh, Dom's going to like just fall into the river and get swept away.
I was standing next to Aiden. I was like, your dad's not going to make it through that. And he's like, nope. I said we're definitely not going in there after him.
Right. We got down there and I said to both of you guys, I think we can cross. We can cross right here. Austin's like, you go ahead. And I kind of with some odd confidence, I'm like, oh, we'll be good. But things have changed so much.
Yeah, it was
and
moving,
now
buddy.
the water's down. There's an enormous gravel bar all the way over, like rock bar, like all the way over on the other side. And there's a big chute or a channel right where I was trying to cross, Austin. And that's why.
Makes sense.
Oh, I had like
Pretty fast.
just my toe. I got those grip studs in my boots, and like I might have had one grip stud at the very tip of the toe. It was holding all of me. And then Austin grabbed my arm.
So
Saved my life.
I did that in Montana on the Madison because we were wet wading and I got greedy and I was like, I can get across here. And next, like I was like, you're like twinkle toeing it, like just touching like at some point I was almost like swimming it, like it. That pack does work as a little bit of a flotation device. That fish fawn one.
Sometimes I don't like the feel of that. Right? It's like pulling
lifting you up a little.
Yeah, I don't like that. You're right.
I got a video of me doing the same thing. Like my dad came up and visited right during the cicada hatch.
Yeah.
And it was kind of sort of at the peak of where the water was. And I'm like, well, he's in town. We're gonna fish. And I've got a video of me trying to cross a certain section. And I mean, he knew. He's like, he's not getting me out of it, And so he just pulls out his phone and starts filming. And I'm like all of my weight leaning into the current, just like floating downstream, sort of like every once in a while touching. And I got out of it. But yeah, we had some treacherous water.
It was something. And now we're at the exact opposite. Like you can't get much lower than what we have.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys see a difference in the fish size right now? Do you think they got bigger?
No. But I don't know. I'm not catching a whole lot right now.
What fish?
To be honest.
Haven't fished enough to know.
Are you experiencing like I call the post cicada blues? I mean, you guys kind of like down about it or like, how do you feel about fishing right now?
I guess
because the water's low. And
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
like
depressing. Getting the taste of fishing dry flies like that has made me hate that mono rig. I'll be honest. I'm like me and the mono rig are having words. Like I want to fish, and so like I just want to fish
dries. I know.
I just want to fish dries, and so I've been really. You can do it, at times of the day and stuff, and so I've been trying to make more of a conscious effort. Like I may nymph a little, like I'll nymph, let's say I nymph an hour or two in the morning when it's, first light. And I'm like, okay, I caught a couple fish. I'm happy. And now I'm going to go almost like I was cicada fishing. I'm going to go do something similar where I'm going to cover water. Like just maybe it's another tactic that I need to work on where I could do that more often.
I hear that, Bill.
Are you fishing topwater?
Bugs. Yeah.
For bass?
No, I'm talking trout.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
For bass. Yeah. That's why I got some plugs out. Like I missed I think I missed the good topwater bite for
a little later in the season. Yeah, I got
it's usually I think it would have been within the last month or so. Yeah, I think it's the good topwater bite for bass.
Felt that same way, Bill. When in May, let's say late May, I took the mono rig off.
Yeah,
and then it wasn't until September that I put it back on, and I just fell back in love with wanting to throw fly line all the time and wanting to fish in a way that is conducive to fly line, to dry flies, especially on cicadas, on big flies, and when they're willing to eat it. It's just like the most fun you've ever had in recent memory. And, it's also fun to go back to it, I feel like, too. Like the first time I put it back on, I was like, all right, here we go, casting the mono rig, and now I feel like I'm back in rhythm again. But it took a little bit.
Yeah.
I tied some beetles that are a little bit smaller than those cicada flies I was fishing.
I know. I think every cicada fisherman does that.
Yeah. And I'm like, I got one to eat it last week.
I know.
And
here's a hot take. I actually think I'm casting my mono rig better after doing all that fly casting. And it's just kind of
Well, you needed it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Exactly. Oh.
That hurts, doesn't it? Gotcha.
That's true. Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
That's funny.
I interrupted you. Did you have an end to that thought, Trevor? I'm sorry.
Oh,
No, that's where I was going, Josh. I was about to talk about how poor my casting was. So beforehand, yeah.
Oh, shoot.
no, it's perfect. Thanks, cicadas. Do you have anything else, guys? Anything else but cicadas?
Let's do it again in 17 years.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
How old will you be? Do you guys figure it out yet?
57.
47.
Lots of sevens. I'll be 67.
That's cool. We're all kind of rounding decades out.
Did you just use a calculator?
Yeah, I'm a loser. I'm tied to technology.
We heard that.
His adder machine.
I thought it was your
I
fish
got my
counter.
added machine up.
Tell you what, I'm gonna do it the same way that I did 17 years ago, the same way as I did it this time. I'm not fishing
That's so cool.
anything else.
That's
I could think about chasing around the country a little bit too. And I had a number of people, I did the video, did a couple of articles, and I had a number of people getting in touch saying, "Oh, hey, we got big bugs out." And they tell me about the hopper hat. I'm like, I know. I can go fish big flies for big trout in other places. But what made it so special is that it's our waters. Again, we know it at the back of our hand.
Yeah.
All four really of these watersheds were like all over them. And I'm like,
If you went to another river system and it was that high, you wouldn't be able to take advantage of it. I mean, you could probably figure it out, but there's another brood coming.
Yeah, I've chased it a little bit around our, let's say, tri-state area, Bill. I've never really nailed it.
Yeah, it was not
like
we got it out here and it wasn't.
No, it's not the same. Right? It's not.
I think it comes back to there's something about that area, like certain areas of the country that get them better than others based on trees or soil.
He's back on the trees again, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tree.
He's probably right.
Wrap it up.
All right. There it is, the post-cicada wrap-up. So we touched on it here, but I think what really impacted me, the guys here, and so many other anglers was the rarity of the event. Like we just said, there's no other chance for this kind of fishing right here in our home waters for another 17 years. That's a big marker in time. Because when you look back that far, it seems like a whole different life. In truth, it was a whole different world all those years ago, without high-speed internet in everybody's phones, for example. Think about that. That's how much changes in 17 years. So you start to wonder what things will look like in 2042. Who will I be in 17 years? And you realize that you actually cannot repeat it again. It won't be the same. Things will be different. I think most of us see fishing as this thing we do. The trout are always there, the hatches come and go, and we'll fish the Hendricksons next year too. We'll probably be out next weekend to catch a few more trout on streamers, and we'll start below that big boulder on the outside bend. And for most of us, maybe each fishing trip doesn't seem all that special. For me, this 17-year cicada has shown me how rare every moment is. How many more times will I fish with my dad in the braids? Who knows? Will my sons and I ever get into trout like we did last spring, where we were all together and the fishing was fast and fun? Not with the boys at that age. That's a certainty. So as life passes and a trout stream seems to stay mostly the same, we change. Our place in life changes, and our friends and family move on too. It's strange how an ugly 2-inch bug can spark so much reflection and really so much appreciation for life. This day, yesterday, and tomorrow. Yeah. Dr. Trevor Smith,
Yes.
you wrap it up. Read it
I
out.
sure will. Sure will. Remember, the Troutbitten Project is a free resource for all anglers. The Troutbitten website hosts over 1,500 articles, videos, and podcasts with endless stories, commentaries, tactics, tips, and more.
He's going fast.
Find what you like through the top menu and through the search page. Navigate by way of the categories and tags too. Be sure to find the Troutbitten YouTube channel, now featuring the Troutbitten Tips series, Fly Fishing the Monorig, and the Troutbitten Fly Box, all in collaborations with Wilds Media. You'll also find the Fish and Film videos in the new Riverside series, all in their own playlists on Troutbitten YouTube. Thank you for listening to the Troutbitten podcast. Please give the show a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and leave a comment because it really helps. Until next time, friends, fish hard, enjoy the day, and find your life on the water.
On the water.
Oh, what?
Yeah. On the water.
We're back. We're back, baby. Dude, how cool that I saw you on the no joke. I was talking to my mother-in-law and I was like, she was asking me if I've ever been to a Steelers game, and I was talking to her about that, and I was like, my friend Dom's at all the home games, and at that moment it cuts to, and I just see at that exact moment, I just see the tree with the roots. I didn't even see your faces at first, and I was like, no way, there's somebody wearing a Troutbitten sweatshirt, and I went back.
That would be hard for her to believe, your mother-in-law.
It was crazy. It was wild. It was very cool.
Were you shown for a while, or was it just like a quick
it's like a
thing?
1 second.
People
It
noticed.
was 1 second, but it cut right. Like it was
amazing.
clearly centered on the sweatshirt.
Yeah,
it was interesting.
agree.
You know, like it was
That's so
looking
cool.
at the logo.
So they play Renegade, and I was like, Dad, after all these years, like we made it. It happened.